of the fall.
Yep. You're exactly right. All this is just the leftovers. We just trying to clean it up now.
Man, I'm so motherfucking ready for this shit to be over with, cause I got children. They grown, but I got children. And I got to make sure that they know what to do as they come on up of age, cause you know what I'm saying? And what about all the other babies? Now, meaning like the neophytes that are coming up right now, they got to know what to do. We got to have some OGs out here, like yourself and me, to guide that introduction that they're coming in.
Yep, I'd say it all the time. We the elders now.
That's it. And shit, it ain't many of us left. You feel me? They got our folks so caught up with this fucking bullshit that's going on, with this low frequency that's on the planet, fucking them off with this bullshit mumble rap that they looking at, and these bullshit ass programs on television. There's a food fucked up. So what? No leaders are coming up. They're not being born. They're not coming to the camp to be trained.
Well, you got to look at our condition, right? Every time a leader come up in our community, what happened to him? He either disgraced or murdered or locked up.
Yeah.
Right.
They fall for the okey doke, get caught up, become a fucking plant or whatever, because of greed, because of selfish human desires, or they get knocked out because they can't turn them that way.
Certain one of us can't sell out if we want to. It's just not in us.
It ain't in me.
We can't even fake it good.
You hear me? What the fuck? So yeah, on this and what's so cold about it, that you're old soul, that you OG, your original God. Because that shit, that you've been dealing with that shit when you was 6, 5 years old. You knew you was different. You knew I'm not like this shit. I always been the motherfucking cast out, the black sheep or whatever however you want to put it. Nigga, I don't want to go over there and do this what you doing. Come over here and do this what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So as you come, as I came up through life, Spirit constantly talking to me. Answer constantly talking to me, telling me to do this, do that. You start reading and study. Lock yourself off from all the clubs and groups and organizations that you fuck with. And you buckle down, you start studying. But I'm still don't have it all together. So when I ran into you, I was like, damn, I know cuz from somewhere, man. It's like your face just looks so fucking familiar.
That's because we probably was somewhere in the ayahuasca ceremony 500 years ago talking about how we were going to come back and fight these motherfuckers and get them off our land.
Shit, that sound about right to me. Sound about right to me, homie. So I want you to keep up with me, man. I'm going to keep up with you because I'm going to be DMing you, asking you questions, and you feel me? And then look, the best thing about it, whoever out there in that live, whoever out there in that audience, they being touched by the same energy.
Yes, sir.
Feel me?
It's an undeniable force.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So just a reminder, man, the people who are out there right now, you got to understand and know, don't fuck with this shit. Don't play with it. Be serious about it. Get down on your studies. Don't feel rushed because you think you need to know this, and this. Take your fucking time. Action it shall be given.
Yeah. My mama told me, my mama used to tell me all the time, the race don't always go to the swift. Most of the time it go to the slow and steady.
Didn't they put that shit in the Bugs Bunny cartoon? Bugs Bunny wasn't just funny. They were letting you know.
Yep. Comedy, buck dancing. Yeah.
Big, bro. Big.
Yeah.
Dig it.
It was good connecting with you. I'm about to wrap this one up and see what my information got coming in for the day.
Big, man. So let's like I said, keep up with each other, and I appreciate you for what you're doing, homie, and let's keep going, baby.
No, ain't no stop, ain't no quit, ain't no retreat, and ain't no surrender.
Big.
Yeah. All right, I'm catch up with you a little later.
Okay.
go through my questions and make sure I ain't got no questions before I log out.
Peace, peace.
All right, fam. Peace.
Peace.
Black Nova Scotia, people of the land. Nova Scotia is in Canada. And it was a settlement that was given to Queen Scotta's sister, Scotia. And that's the why it's called Nova Scotia, mean New Scotia. And that's the Irish settlement of Irishmen that look this color. But as you seen when we was listening in the beginning to Joseph Sinkyu from the Symbionese Liberation Army, the Irish is over their head with us in this shit, on the same level we in on this shit. Fighting the same motherfuckers we fighting over here, they was fighting over there with the Irish Republic Army, right? So the war was global. It was in Africa. We had Kenya, they had the Mau Mau Rebellion. South Africa, we know about the African National Congress. We know about the Pan-African Congress. This was Stephen Biko and Nelson Mandela. And Winnie Mandela was the heartbeat of the South African Revolution. And the Winnie Mandela effect is it's a queen flip a queen scenario on two queens knocking across the water. So when she met Khadija Muhammad, she gave her the keys to her kingdom to hold for her until the time when they was reclaimed the matriarchy. So now you see the Mandela effect about to take place. When we raise the matriarchy here, it automatically raises it in South Africa, which affects the whole continent. We banded forces to fight these motherfuckers. And now they being rooted out at the root. So these motherfuckers can't come back no more. Right? So the conversation is critical, but we got to know who we are, and we have to stand up for our leaders if we want our leaders to stand up for us. It's a symbiotic relationship, just like the SLA was a Symbionese Liberation Army based off symbiotic relationship. Two things working together to make sure that each one of the other things survive, right? So I'm gonna wrap this up. I hope y'all got some information y'all could use. We was cashing receipts today. So we're going to see what it do from here. We keep pushing the agenda. Free Larry Hoover is the battle cry. And with Larry Hoover comes all our political prisoners that was leaders in our community. Assata Shakur come home. We get to secure our children from the sex trafficking and the child pedophiles. We get to secure all of these things under standing up for the Larry Hoover battle cry. So this is where we at. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that for today, and I'm gonna see what Big Mama give me to do after this. And it's peace out from here, fam.
Before I met Elijah or Malcolm or God getting them in the sacred halls, they put Master Fire Muhammad before me. He was old and wrinkled up, and I was fucked up. He wasn't supposed to be old and wrinkled up according to how he to live. But then he told me, because that was the first thing I want to know. If you God, right? And I'm talking to one they call Master Fire Muhammad, the Sufi mystic. The one that they're trying to figure out what happened to him. And I know what happened to him, and I know where he at. I know where the body was, and all that. But I'm not going to get into that because that's not necessary for this video. Master Muhammad told me the reason why he was all wrinkled and aged. He said because he was done with this physical form. He said, I began to eat 3 meals a day. I said, well, why would you do that if you're supposed to eat 1 meal a day and you're supposed to do everything according to righteousness? He said, look, I ate 3 meals a day because it accelerates my decay and accelerates my breakdown. It didn't make no sense to me. I didn't realize until last year after my graduation it was a riddle. And this is what the riddle was. He was telling me that at this day and time, the old ways would be hampered by greed. That's what he was telling me. When he showed himself as being aged, he's telling me this is the old ways. This is the old stuff, the old energy. And it's going to be hampered from the rebirth of the new energy by the 3 meals a day represented the greed. Because according to How to Eat to Live, if you're eating 3 meals a day, you're greedy. That's just that simple. You're greedy. 7 deadly sins. Jealousy, envy, lust, greed, number 4. So greedy, what will make a person greedy? Deprivation. Deprivation is the fertilizer for greed. Who's been deprived? The American so-called Negro. Since he's been here, he's been deprived. Been deprived of everything that the Christ was deprived of in the crucifixion. He's been deprived of knowledge itself. Thorns on his head. Deprived of the right to build his own stuff with his hands nailed to the cross. Deprived of the right to walk the land freely with his feet nailed to the cross. And his blood has been contaminated against his will, thus seen by the spear of destiny as it mixes the blood in the urine. It's in your face. But I have to show you that it's in your face or you won't believe me. It's right there. The whole story is right there. So the judgment that Anu, who was authorized to issue a judgment because his rank was higher, issued the judgment on Nebuchadnezzar as the story is told. That's Hiram. That's the story of Hiram. Part of it. Part of it is in Ezekiel. Some of it is in the other lesser prophets. It's all there though. The whole, it's broke up. They use homonyms and synonyms. All of this stuff is relevant. They use star charts to confuse you because they know the stars not going to change. And that's one of the few things that they put in the books, no matter which one it is, that you can always check for frame of reference. They're not allowed to change anything stellar. If you see them write about a star, study that intently, because that's one of the few things that, according to the rules of this universe, they cannot change that on Earth where it cannot be referenced with the stars. Any book that they call a religious book, if it got stellar references, that's your starting point. Match the stars up first. Then match the stories up that fall under the stars. And then it'll clear itself up. You won't need nobody to do it for you. You won't need nobody. So this is why they keep telling you that it's astrotheology in the Bible, in the Quran, the Judaic religions. All they telling you is that everything man can change on Earth, he can't change the stars in the sky. So your elders, your ancestors, was wise enough to know this. So everything they did, they tied it directly to the stars so that you can read it in real time as it unfolds on Earth. And that's why I pointed out when I was telling everyone Hiram was raised. The stars point to the Orion belt. Who is Orion? The great and mighty hunter. Who was the great and mighty hunter? Nimrod. Who was Nimrod? The one they feared. Who was the one they feared? The only one they couldn't defeat, Sun Wukong. Well, what happened to Sun Wukong? Sun Wukong met the Buddha. The Buddha sent him to tame his Sakoma, his monkey man. He named him Hanuman as he became realized because he said, the Monkey King told the Buddha that no man may become God. They can all attain the level of a Hanuman. Look it up. It's no secret. It's all there. And so, if the Orion is the great hunter Nimrod, and if Nimrod is the only undefeated Sun Wukong, and the Sun Wukong went to the Buddha, the great wise one, and the great wise one told him he had to attain the wisdom of the ages before he could rule. And so he went on a journey to the west. Where would he go? Where would he go? If he's going on a journey to the west, where would he go? So at that time, the west was Africa. So he went to the Congo. So this is why they call him the King of the Congo. And they use the symbol of the gorilla, King Kong, because the gorilla is the only major mammal on the continent of Africa you will not find in the hieroglyphics. Now you got to ask yourself why. If they knew about chimpanzees and orangutans in Asia, well, not orangutans because they wrote about them over in India, but if they knew about chimpanzees in Africa, if they knew about baboons in Africa, and they knew about the elephant in Africa, and the lion, and the wildebeest, and they knew about stuff in the water that y'all ain't even seen yet in Africa, how the hell they didn't know about the gorilla? Well, spoiler. The only reason the gorilla is not in the hieroglyphics is the last totem clan to rise on Earth before the ascent would be the gorilla clan. So they were not allowed to use that symbol because the reign of Hanuman had not come. The reign of the Monkey King, crowned in the Congo, had not come. So they can't use his symbols prematurely. If they try to use his symbols, they would violate the rules and lose power instantly and ruin everybody's ascent, even though it's been evil, wicked, and painful. The whole purpose of giving her only begotten son is that no human be thrown away like trash and nobody be left behind who does not choose to be left behind. The only way you can choose to be left behind in the final ascension of this era is by choosing to do things that bring down your natural higher vibratory rate. You have to draw yourself down to becoming lesser than what you are. The more you try to become your best self, the more you can ascend and the more worthy you are to call yourself righteous. And this is why I say it's easier for a rich man to enter into the eye of a needle, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is a realization. When you get the comforts and you stop doing the self-work because of the comforts of the life, you forfeit your right to ascend because you are content being less than yourself in the name of a dollar. You're content with being less than yourself in the name of a dollar. So as long as the money is more important than your family, you ain't gonna make it. If the money is more important than your people, than other humans, you're not gonna make it. I'm telling you now, the money is the mark of the beast. Always have been, always will be. The money, the greenback, is the mark of the beast. But it's not the money. You gotta keep this in mind, because it said the mark is in your hands and in your head, holding the money and thinking about it all day. When that's your only purpose in life is to make money, you are worthless. When your only purpose in life is to make money, you are worthless. You are guaranteed not to ascend because you will not do the internal work that every Mason must do. He will not prove himself worthy before the Lord. In other words, these women is the precursor, the first recognition of your righteousness. And they gonna pass you. They gonna raise you and pass you before mama. And then mama gonna call you approved or disapproved. Many are called, few are chosen. Y'all gotta remember that. They took all of our story, they watered it down, they mixed it up. They added smear campaigns, damnation, condemnation, divide and conquer, separation, corruption. They gave us physical diseases and mental diseases. And all of these things is to stop our ascent. But without the opposition, you would never know how strong you really are. And we, being guardians of the galaxy, always knew we were strong. You always heard us talk about, even when they told us we wasn't shit, how strong we were, how great we were, never knowing that we wasn't even showing our greatness yet. The pyramids pale in comparison to the work that we did in the cleanup after these Babylonian vampires, bloodsuckers that required the blood rights. That's why it tell you clearly, the Old Testament God required blood. The New Testament Christ requires righteousness. Do the math, and it's in your face. So it tell you in the New Testament that the Christ came that you can be free from the law and you can walk in grace. How do you do that? Because apparently we're not free from the law. What is the law? It's the law of the Levite. What's the law of the Levite? They're all in there. It's the law of levies, Levites, levies, and liens. Don't pay them folks no attention. I got you. Me and you gonna talk later. The system of levies and liens is what they call the Levite system. That's why it leads with the word levy. The word levy is spelled Levi. They want you to worship God because God is a truth. Now, if you know Grimm's Law of Grammar say all vowels in translation are interchangeable. One of the 12 tribes is called Gad, G-A-D, before they sing the truth. Gad is God. So you know you're worshiping now. So when you say Gad, you're still in their system. Gad is God. Not gut, not the German word for good. That's deception. I'm finna get you all finna crack up with some of this stuff before I wrap this video up. But that's a deception. Gad is who you calling on when you call God. One of the 12 tribes of Israel, and that's why your prayers don't get answered, because he don't have the authority to answer them. Gad, that you're calling God, one of the sons of Israel, is not authorized to answer the prayer. That's why you have to attach it to the amen, because the amen has to exonerate him immediately when you say the prayer and call on God. The amen, the one who is ruling by deceit and deception, behind the scenes, that one has to immediately exonerate the tribe of Gad under the law of Levi. Now, under the law of Levi, when Levi issue a levy or declares you erring, and he issues a rent or a decree, a rent of war, a war rent for your detention, a warrant for your arrest, your restriction. He's binding you in the name of the law. You're bound in the name of the law. When you are arrested, the word arrest means to bound or restrict in the name of the law. So now, how do you get bound? Bound in the name of the law. You get bound in the name of the law as the resort of the war rent. A war rent is a declaration of war on an individual, but it's metaphysical, not physical. But it will leak physical, but it starts metaphysically with the war rent. The war rent is a decree or a declaration of war. This is mysticism, and it's not what you would call law and truth. This all of the stuff that's energetically being placed on you as a spell. The war rent is actually a spell. The spell binds you. In order to free yourself from the spell, you have to identify the rent of war. In other words, you have to identify, yes, GAD, the war rent, and you have to protest it. You have to become a Protestant. But when you become a Protestant and protest the war rent, you have to realize that you're doing it in front of one of the brothers, or a Judahite, or a judge. The judges are Judah. Judah is a judge, right? So that's why they're telling you that the Son of Man is from the line of Judah, but he's not of Judah. It don't make no sense. He's from the line of Judah, but he's not Jewish or a Judahite. He's not a Levite. He's not of the lawgivers. He's not of the lawgivers. And so, who does he fall under? He falls directly under the one they say is beloved, or Dawid. He falls under David because he is an expression of Solomon. How do you know? Solomon means the soul of man. What's the soul of man? The soul of man is a piece of gold that goes in your heart. It's the soul light. It's the ray inside of you. It's your pyramid, the pyro, the fire in the middle. Right? So, when they gave us all of these stories, they never sourced them for you because that's your job. The right to discovery is why they created a library. In order to bury everything in lies. Because you got to dig out the truth. That's your job. So they told you they destroyed the libraries of Alexandria. No. They in the Vatican. That's the Vatican library now. Because Rome won that part of the war. You got to remember, they called it Alexandria. Who conquered? Alexander. Who was Alexander? Alexander was the one who went in the Indus Valley to get the military doctrine that he needed to subjugate the rest of the world. The caste system. The caste system had to be adapted. How do you clean up the genetic mess? You tie it back into source. They call it tying into the vine. If they don't tie into the vine, the genetics fall apart. So, black people that's been oppressed for 400 years wonder why we don't get no awards at the Oscars and the Grammys and why they don't recognize us when we sell 50 million records the same as they do with Justin Timberlake. You got the pyramids. You don't need that shit. You created music. You don't need no Grammy.